This episode is sponsored by the blog Home Under Clutter. Lindsay is a self-proclaimed clutterbug. She got so sick of living in clutter that she did a huge purge. Join her on her never-ending journey of decluttering and organizing at www.homeunderclutter.com.
Which member left a demanding corporate career and moved to another continent to spend more time with family? Find out by going to www.bookinterrupted.com/members and get to know us a little more.
Parental guidance is recommended because this episode has mature topics and strong language. Here are some moments you can look forward to during this episode of Book Interrupted.
Can you guys come over right now and do my laundry?
Kind of a turkey neck anyway, but it was like swollen from here to here. It was like I looked like a pelican. I want to read this book a lot. Like, how bad is it?
Drifted off to the zombie game that Mare just taught me.
But he gets up at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. I joke that he's getting up at the middle of the night.
I don't think they've slept in till 7 since they were born.
First step, set your alarm for 5. And then she's like, just kidding. I'm like, oh, thank God. Because like I was ready to be like, I'm not reading this book.
Mind, body, and soul. The information is the goal. Try to learn something new without being distracted. Mind, body, and soul. The information is the goal. Try to learn something new without being disrupted. Mind, body, and soul. Inspiration is the goal. Interrupted.
Welcome to Book Interrupted, a book club for busy people to connect and one that celebrates life's interruptions. If you'd like to join along, this book cycle is from October 24th to November 28th. It's our fan Lindsay's book pick, and we're reading 4% Fix by Karma Brown. How to find guilt-free time for what you really want to do and why it matters. How would you use this 1 hour, only 4% of your day, to change your life? Let's listen in to this episode's group discussion.
I really like that she keeps on like when in the beginning, she's like, okay, now get ready. First step, set your alarm for 5. And then she's like, just kidding. I'm like, oh, thank God. Because like I was ready to be like, I'm not reading this book. Right. Like she did the thing that I was afraid of reading the book about. And then she was like, just kidding. And I was like, oh, perfect. Because that keeps me in.
It makes her
She's
seem
very
real.
real.
Yeah. Totally real.
It just seems
Totally.
it's easy to read. And I feel like pretty much everyone I know also has this problem. It's super relatable and super, I love how she's also, she like rips on herself about some first book she wrote. She like,
and how bad it was
on herself about it. It's like, I haven't read this book, but it's like, I want to read this book a lot. Like, how bad is it?
I know she's like, but I did it. I finished.
And I hate it, but I'd like to bring it up for you all to look at it. It's like, should we read it? Yeah.
But I like that too, because I'm such a finisher. I don't start anything I don't finish, right? As I mentioned before. So yeah, I like that she's like, I just finished it anyway. Like I knew as I was writing that this is so crappy, but I'm just gonna finish it. So it's done and I'll start a new one. Like I kind of like that.
dress rehearsal style.
I think that's one of the themes of the books, though, is like putting it into, it's about the practice. We get so conditioned as adults to not try new things because we have these high expectations of only absolute perfection, no failure. And she's like, well, failure is going to happen and it's not a horrible thing. Set yourself up for success. Do the baby steps. It's about the practice of taking care of yourself and carving out that time and using that time towards something that is like deeply fulfilling for yourself, because no one's going to do that for you.
No, and you're never going to get better at things if you don't do them.
If you don't
like
try.
You,
Totally.
Yeah, if you don't try. So
Okay, I have a confession to make. We're talking about like a time management book, and I have not got the book yet because
You don't even have a book.
so I started reading Sarah's. I've literally read like 2 pages.
It's okay.
I did read reviews, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny because I feel like I'm being very negative, but the thing is, I was this person. I used to, before, like when I'm single, I'm so productive. When I'm not dating somebody, I used to get up before high school every day. And I used to do like 200 push-ups and 200 sit-ups, and like I used to do yoga, and I used to do
You really
What
do
else did I do?
200 push-ups?
every day,
Jeez, dude.
full ones.
Yeah.
I started with
Like
25.
Tai Chi.
I did Tai Chi every
Oh,
day
yeah.
for years. And
awesome.
at
Wow.
some point, I wanted to climb the CN Tower, and my mom would drive me to this park that had a staircase with 200 steps or 100 steps.
Shinoke?
Maybe. And
Yeah.
I would go up and down it
Killer.
until I got up to 1,800 steps, because the CN Tower is like 1,776 steps or whatever. And I was like, I don't want to die climbing up the CN Tower. And I used to do that every day or four times a week. Like I used to get up every day and do yoga before work, but then I had kids and they get up at like 5, and I'm always like, go to sleep. Stop waking me up. But I think I can do it, because I would be like, I want to climb the CN Tower. I'm going to get up and go running up and down the stairs before I go to
I
school.
think Mare's should be, Mare's feels just with her talking about just general life and sleep. I feel like yours should be like, you should allot, if they go to bed at 8:30, then 8:30 to 9:30 should be your no talk, like I done.
Thing is, he wants to do stuff too.
Yeah.
They've been getting better,
Yeah.
because he'll be like, I want to draw. And I'll be like, because I'll be like, you want to play a game? You want to do this? You want to do that?
Oh, so you're the
And-
little problem child for
Well,
you.
it depends. Like, I'm like, what do you want to do? And they'd be like, I want to draw. I'm like, okay, great. I'll play the piano or whatever. Like, I play only a certain number of songs. I like to master the song first. before I
Yeah,
move
but
on.
you can do that. You can do individual things in the same room and be creative
Yeah.
together
I
without
know.
having to do something together. You're
I
still
think-
bonding.
I think the hard thing too is that we would like to do things together. But also part of me is like, right now, my kids are very demanding, but my oldest is going to start school soon. And one day they won't need me as much as they want to be around me all the time. And also one day it'll be more reasonable to get a babysitter, and we'll be able to go out and do something together. This 1.5 to 2 years has been,
Oh, so maybe it is that
Hard.
your 4% fix is couple time.
well, that's the thing, that
Yeah.
we choose couple time, and then sometimes we choose our own time.
Yeah, there's no
whatever.
rule about it has to be alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like each day, it can't be every day. But I think I can do
It
this
could
because
be,
I am.
You could be coffee fucking.
Hot coffee time.
You're gonna have hot coffee.
You can have hot coffee too.
Creamy.
I hope it's not too frothy.
That may be a problem.
Unless it's a
I
cappuccino.
don't even know what that means.
Oh my God.
I don't know. It doesn't sound healthy.
It sounds like someone needs to seek medical care.
It doesn't sound healthy.
But yeah, so I don't know, because I haven't I've read the book. So you guys are like, I was like, I feel like I'm being a naysayer. And then I realized, like, I've done this. I can do this.
You totally
Right?
can. And
You
like the book,
absolutely
once you
can.
read the book, then you'll be like, okay. And
I
you'll
should
be
do this.
like,
It was like when I read Women Who Run with the Wolves, and I was like, yeah, young Meredith did all sorts of stuff. I should just start doing my creative stuff again. Because again, like Kara was saying, you get into this like routine as like you have all these roles. You just gotta like carve out time to do it. Like when I was in my 20s, I wrote a novella.
Ooh.
I don't know. I gotta read it. It's terrible.
I know, and you did remember what was it, the claymation that you did?
The claymation video.
oh, that was good.
Yeah, you did
Oh.
amazing stuff.
Yeah.
And that was with Dan. So maybe you come up with some creative ideas. If you want to have bonding time and creative time, you could always combine it and
Combine
do
it.
something. That's
Hey.
fun, right?
Is it on YouTube? That thing? Because I'd love to
It
post
is.
that.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a video. It's hilarious. It's a video of a raccoon, and it's claymation.
Rascally Raccoon meets Playful Dog is what it's called.
Yeah, but it's a very gruesome end. So
Very.
so be prepared for the ending.
It's really great though. It's so great.
Lindsay,
I
you'll
love
have
how
to
you
watch
just
it.
did it. You were like, yeah, we had a few days off work because we both had like, what was it? You had like surgery
I
in your mouth or
I
something?
got 2 wisdom teeth removed, and I got a major infection all the way down to here.
Oh
Like,
my
Wow.
God.
It was like this. Like I kind of have a turkey neck anyway, but it was like swollen from here to here. It was like I looked like a pelican. I told my dentist, I was like, I'm in a lot of pain still, and I look like this. I went
My
in
neck
and
is
I got this
missing.
rash. He's like, we did antibiotics. Oh, he's like, this is really bad. I was like, okay. So I was in a lot of pain, and I was at home recovering.
You're telling me I'm turning into a bird.
I was like, we don't need to make it improve the comparison. I already look very bird-like,
yeah.
right? Like the beak and the turkey.
I prefer to look like this bird, not a pelican.
I want to look like a turkey. I don't want to look like a pelican. That's for when I'm 80. I'm not there yet. Yes, we did a claymation. I was like, oh. We've always wanted to do claymation since I can't go anywhere.
I know, you're like, why not now? As I metamorphosize.
Oh, now I'm excited thinking about the things that we can do. Hey,
Collaboration is the spark for creativity. Like,
Yeah, maybe that's
I
the
can't
passion
even
that
imagine-
gets you
yeah,
in.
if I was married to my creative spark, you got like a little bit of Anthony Keaton with Kiedis?
I was like,
Kiedis.
Anthony Keaton.
Anthony Kiedis with Fly, kind of like sparks. That would be great.
With who?
You know,
Do you mean
like-
Flea?
what did I say?
Fly?
Oh, fuck! The wine's got me again.
Anthony Kiedis and Jeff Goldblum as the Fly? Is that what you mean?
That's hilarious.
Oh, we're going back to Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, Sarah's favorite.
My creative spark is Anthony Keaton and Fly.
Wow.
I'm saying Keaton too, like Alex P. Keaton.
I just nodding. I'm like, I don't know anybody's names. I'm like, yeah, okay. Okay, whatever you say, Leah. Those must be real people.
I listened to something where they talked about the relationship and how it like sparked creativity, and I was like, what a great like
Yeah, I love
some
that.
people really bring it out of you.
Yeah, magic, right? When
Yeah.
the right people get together and then they create.
Yeah, a little
right?
magic happens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This interruption is brought to you by Unpublished. Do you want to know more about the members in Book Interrupted? Go behind the scenes? Visit our website at www.bookinterrupted.com.
Book interrupted.
So we're on the ferry, Laird and I, and he'd gone upstairs. We're going back from Newfoundland, and he's gone upstairs to go check out and see if you can stand outside on the deck or anything. And I'm sitting there, and I'm actually reading a book for Book Interrupted, and I happen to just turn my head to look out the window, and there's these splashes. And I'm looking harder and I'm looking harder, and there's a whole bunch of dolphins. Actually, Laird said they were probably porpoises, but still, like coming swimming beside the ferry. And so I go upstairs and I tell Laird, it's like, oh, did you see them? And he did. So then we went outside and we went to go watch, and then they were swimming by the side of the ferry boat. And they're going towards the back, and they were so cute. And so then I kept trying to take a video to show everybody from Book Interrupted, and every time I turn my camera on to take the video, they would go away. And then I'd see them again, and then I'd try to take my camera out. So, sorry, no video, but they were so cute.
Book interrupted. All right, Lindsay, what do you use your because you already do this. So what do you use your hour
Yeah.
for?
I first started with coffee. I just wanted to sit out on my back deck, look out at my beautiful pool, and drink my coffee. And I just wanted that time without kids. And my kids are early risers. Like I don't think they've slept in till 7 since they were born up until just a couple weeks ago. It's always been between 4:30 and 6 since then. So it's hard to get up earlier than them. So now that they started through COVID sleeping till 6, I decided, well, hey, I can use this book and start getting up at 5. And then it gives me that little bit of time. And it started at 5:30. I would get up at 5:30. Sometimes I would snooze a little bit. And then finally I'd be thinking to myself, while I still lied in bed, like she described in the book, and thought about sitting on my deck with my coffee, and that would get me out of bed. And then it started to turn into fitness because, like I said, it's hard to find time for that in any part of the day. And it just sort of branched off from there.
So you do your fitness now in the morning. So that's
I
the
do.
time. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Is it
Good for
partially
you.
because of the puppy? Because that's like one of the reasons I wanted a dog, because I used to go out all the time, and I also felt obligated to. And then me and the dog had a great time. Right
Yeah.
at night, no one's up, it's dark out. Even in the winter, you just like have to walk faster. you
Yeah.
know?
It's pretty small. It's a pug. So she doesn't need a lot of walking.
Oh, she was slow.
No,
But
beautiful.
even still.
she's
Yes.
like, don't go so fast, I can't breathe.
Well, maybe on the would you send a photo and then we can put it on our Facebook book club
Puppy
group
photo.
Yeah,
of
that'd be
the
awesome.
doggy?
Yeah, for
Please.
sure.
Okay, great. You
Yeah.
can send it to Sarah. I was like, Sarah's the organizer. She'll do it now.
Yeah.
No, I can do it.
No, I will. I like being the organizer.
It's true. This is going to be super hard for me because, as most of you know, 10 a.m. is pretty much the time I get up every morning. And that's me getting up early at 10 a.m. One of the reasons, because I work in restaurants, so oftentimes I'm working till 1 or 2 in the morning. So if you're working till 1 or 2 in the morning, I ain't getting up at 5 a.m. And I mean, Laird and I joke all the time when he gets up, because he gets up early, that's the middle of the night. And even if he gets up at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., I joke that he's getting up at the middle of the night because so this is never, I honestly can't imagine I lived with Sarah. I cannot imagine me getting up at 5 a.m. Like, I just can't. But I'm going to maybe try a couple times just for the sake of the book. But I might set my alarm for 9 a.m. instead of 10 a.m.
I was going to say,
I want to do that.
5, just an hour earlier than you do.
Well, exactly. So I think I'm going to do that just to try. And I love in the book, she talks about set your alarm and then get out of bed. Which for me, if I set my alarm at 9, I will lay in bed till 11. If I set my alarm at 10, I'll lay in bed till 11. And I learn Italian. I like do stuff. But I also check my email, which we just talked about. I should, so why not set my alarm for 9, get out of bed at 9 and use that extra hour. I mean, you all know I have 3,000 creative projects on the go all the time. I'm painting and I'm writing and I'm also do not have children. And I also have my Laird who gets up early and it has lots of other projects as well. So it's just me. So for me, I have a ton of time during the day. I don't need to get up an extra hour early to find time, unlike the rest of you. I mostly have all my own mean time until I go to work at 5 p.m. and then I work at night. So but I also think it might be really great for me to do that extra hour. And, I've been writing this one book about zombies and a pandemic and all this stupid stuff that I've been writing. So Sarah's making a really weird face about the zombie.
No, no, I'm not at all. I just played a zombie. No, because I just played a zombie game. I literally drifted off to the zombie game that Mare just taught me. I was like,
okay. I love zombies.
Played a zombie game.
And we won against all odds.
It's a board game, a zombie board game.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, Kim, have you played Zombicide? Have you played with you?
No.
I've never even heard of Zombicide.
I would be interested.
It was really fun. Yeah.
So maybe I'll use that extra hour to actually, because it's hard as a writer, writers write. It's that whole thing in which she talks about a lot really resonates with me, because as a writer, you can't call yourself a writer if you don't write. And it's like, writing is not something that's an inspiration. It's a joke if anybody ever thinks that they're like, oh, I thought of this novel and it came out of me in 3 days. Like maybe that happens to a few people, but most writers will have to sit down every single day and put the time in and put the effort, and all the time your first book sucks. I've already written a novel that is so bad that nobody will ever see it. Like
I want to see it.
No.
Leo
nobody will ever
to.
see it. But that's
I want it.
Yeah,
I want to read that.
I think I'm gonna anyway. So that's I have many passions, but I think I'm gonna try this. I'm going to try to get up at 9 a.m. instead of 10 or 8 a.m. maybe, I won't get up before
Don't
that.
push
probably.
it. Yeah. Don't push it.
But still, that's
imagine.
awesome. Like, that's exactly what it is. I mean, you work
time.
at night, so 9 is your 5, like whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can't go to bed at 9 because I'm busy at work at 9.
Yeah. Imagine. Excuse guys. I gotta take a break. I gotta go to bed.
I'm reading this book. The book is telling me that I have to get up at 5, so sorry.
Could you imagine?
I'm done now. You finish these roll ups.
Done for the day.
Something to be said about having like a certain amount of time set aside for a specific thing.
Yeah.
Right. When again, like when Dan and I started drawing and playing piano after our daughter started sleeping as a baby, we said, okay, we're going to start doing half an hour every day when she goes to sleep of something that we love. And that's how we started. We did half an hour, and then we would end up playing I'd play for like an hour and a half, and we'd all of a sudden we're like, oh my God, it's bedtime, because we would just get into it. And it was nice. It was so nice. But if you have that dedicated, it's easier to not dilly-dally and be like, oh, I've got time, I'll check this and I'll check that. You waste so much time just thinking about what you're going to do. But if you already know what you're going to do, then you just do it.
Yeah, you dive right in.
It's easier to do some of your chores or whatever, like cleaning up or whatever is easier to do because you've got that time allotted to yourself to do whatever you want to do after.
And you do it faster. Speed cleaning. Get this done.
Yeah.
Because I'm like super time management person. And when I was younger, I used to pack too much in to my life. So I would start realizing I didn't have enough me time, healthy time, that I would schedule my me time. Be like, okay, so what I'm going to do today? Okay, I'll do yoga. So I started scheduling, oh, I'm going to read, or I'm just going to spend a night. Like I'd have to schedule it into my daytime, or it might be different every day because I was that person filling everything in, but learn to schedule the me time. Or I would just, if somebody asked me to do something, I'd be like, yeah, sure, I can do that. Because I'm a people pleaser. So I'd just say yes. And then all of a sudden I'd be burnt out.
One thing I started to do for me, because I'm like Sarah and I like scheduling stuff, is I write it. Now I still use like a tactile, like I use a schedule, like a paper schedule, not my phone. Like things like that tend to like get chewed up. I write it in pen because there's nothing I hate more than like a messy schedule.
Yeah, like scratching
Oh,
out
so
that
you
pen.
Totally
Yeah.
scratching out.
You
get
use
it.
It's like-
pencil for the most part in your scheduler?
Well, I have to because of clients and
Mm-hmm.
that I can't help. They fluctuate sometimes. People reschedule, but certain things that are like me stuff, I'll write it. I'm like, it's in pen. Or if it's really important, it's highlighted too. And then I like really can't and without getting a new page and starting over.
I would do it with different colors. Like I would do the same thing. Everything was in pencil, and then things that I wanted to make a priority that I didn't want to scratch out, I'd put in a pen, and it was like personal time. I'd be like in blue, and then in black would be something else.
Yeah, I love scheduling. It's so lame, but I love it.
I don't think it's lame.
Now I use a phone calendar,
I can't do it.
like an electronic
do it.
calendar. But even then, my electronic calendar's all color coded.
That's like the gist of the book, right? Is what you guys are talking about. It's just in different ways.
Yeah, it is. Good point. It reminded me, Leah, with the whole scheduling and how you and Sarah are both so similar that way. Your love of the to-do list and even ensuring that the to-do list is written out in an aesthetically pleasing way. And you guys are both very action oriented, like you're really doers. I remember a bit ago, you had even gotten to the point, I think it was around the time that you were moving, and you're like, maybe it would work for me to even schedule in and put on the to-do list, like the partner time, so that it doesn't slip through the cracks, because you can get so locked in on, no, Leah isn't allowed to play because she hasn't completed this and this and this and this and this. And it's like, you can't move into a new house and do it all in 24 hours. Like it's literally impossible, but both you and Sarah stand great potential to burn yourselves out because you're like, must cross off the to-do list. Yeah. And how you even put in like time for you and the old bow, just
Some people can't unpack in like 5 years.
this is true. This is true.
It's funny. My husband, because you know how we built our house, we moved in before it was completed. And my husband was like, it'll probably take us about a year to finish everything. I was like, you mean a month, right? And he's like, no, a year, because we're not going to kill ourselves to finish the house. It'll take about a year. And then it's taken a year. He's just finishing up now and it's been a year.
He knows you so well. He's like, I don't want to live with the super stress, have to get it done immediately. We're going to have a realistic deadline, and here's the deadline, and we can make it. Yeah.
Oh, he's so wonderful. He's so good for you. Yeah.
I think he's evil, and I think this is a poor choice.
I know. Seriously.
Oh my God, Sarah, we should never get married. We'd be too efficient.
you imagine?
A cyborg.
Here are the things we're doing today. We'd wake up and be like, okay,
We have-
let's write our to-do list together.
To-do list. We have an hour and a half to have fun time. That's it. And then we
Okay.
call people
Time's
out or
over.
something. I don't know.
Be fun now.
Yeah, be fun
It's on the
now.
schedule.
The thing is, you guys you'd go, okay. And then you just do it. You'd like become inactive.
And how
Like,
can we multitask
next.
the fun time with things that are actually productive? Like maybe we
I
can
like it.
laundry going at the same time.
Oh, laundry is the best
Yeah, totally.
It's the best add-on, easy add-on to all of my stuff that makes me feel like laundry. Thank you.
Done.
Whether I'm folding you in front of a TV or I'm just putting on another load while doing something else, it always helps me feel efficient.
Me too. I love the laundry add-on.
I love the laundry.
Oh my God.
Love it.
Oh my God. I am so the opposite. Can you guys come over right now and do my laundry?
No, it doesn't work the same for other people's.
But that's why me and Leah have to schedule
You
the
have to.
downtime, or we just burn out because we're just constantly getting to the list, to the list, to the list, and it's not healthy.
Can I share with you guys? I haven't finished the book, but I did discover this
just started.
past week. Well, no, I'd like to weigh in with my own theory on the 4% fix. I shared this with Leah earlier. I have the solution, everybody. The 4% fix is don't reduce yourself to one unit or one family like household. Include other adults in your life and share the load. Work together. We just got back from the cottage, which is kind of not reality, but let's pretend it was reality. And we had adults helping each other. And I felt like I had 4%
We had each
coming
other.
all over the place.
At which she shared this with me, and I was like, yeah, but it worked because it was a girls' trip.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, I think it obviously my husband is my partner in the household and raising of our child and all that good stuff. But it's sometimes I don't know. I felt like, should you and I know it's incestuous, but should we get married?
Okay.
Kara?
Well, let's do it. Like seriously, like we just had everything
It just
covered.
worked
And
really
that's
well.
not to say that our partners weren't helpful by providing in some ways because they tend to work more and
By
earn
their
more
absence,
while we do. Yeah.
possibly.
So I'm not trying to like be dismissive, like let's get them out for good. But seriously, long pauses and breaks from your partners, it's quite lovely. Like, and we just shared the load. And I was like, why don't I live my life this way?
I would wonder what Sarah thinks about this, because I think that just culturally, traditionally, that it's more of a large family unit.
Yeah, so in Senegal, a lot of people still live in family homes, and family homes, like there's a courtyard and then people's houses, the different family members' houses, and usually there's just one kitchen, one place to do washing and stuff like that too, like hang laundry and whatever. So the women just help each other. All the women just help each other out. I'm not saying that men are not helpful, but even when I remember when I was pregnant with Aita, I came to visit Kim with my two children, and Meredith came too with her kids, and it was literally like a beautiful symphony of,
Isn't it?
I don't want to say that men don't know how to do it, but everyone just jumped in at the right time. Oh, the dishes need to be done.
They're writing the schedule.
It's not. It's just so then we all had time to relax, and we all had this extra time, and it kind of flowed that way. And I think like my husband's super helpful, but I need to tell him, like, can you do these things? Or this is your responsibility. Yeah. Or this is your responsibility, and I will take these responsibilities. Or I'm feeling overwhelmed. Can you do this, for me or for our family? But he wouldn't automatically just do it. He'd think, oh, she's going to get to it or whatever. Like, or he doesn't even see it. I don't know, but he will do it if I ask. So I don't mind asking, but it is a kind of a beautiful symphony when you're around a bunch of women. And in Senegal, that's the roles. People in family homes, like me reading like 3 hours of a novel, because I still was helping out here and there, and everyone's kind of calm because sometimes my niece was taking care of the kids, and at one point someone else is making lunch, and do you know what I mean? Like everybody just kind of fills in, and it just is calm. Yeah. Especially if you have problems. Like I know I have some girlfriends that have real issues asking their husband to do things. Like they should just know. And I was like, but they clearly don't. So don't be mad. Just be like, hey, can you do this? Because I'm doing these other things, and it'll be stressful, or I don't have time, or I would like to do this thing for me. Just ask. Most partners that love you will be like, oh, sure. Yeah, I can do that.
Well, and then you can get mad if they're like, no, I'm not doing that. That's your job or whatever. Then you can get mad. You know what I mean? Before, like, don't pull the psychic trick. Ask. And then if there's a problem.
I've been living in, I guess, when this airs, when we were living in Newfoundland, and we were living with another couple in the house, which is really weird because I haven't lived with roommates since Sarah. Oh no, since my brother, but that was right after. So many, many, many years, just Laird and I. And it was actually really nice, but the men did it just to throw a loop in your, but I think the men did just as much. I mean, Laird was working a little bit more, so we all kind of took the load a bit more because he was working so many hours. But it was kind of lovely because we started right after we'd never met each other, and we're like, well, do you want to kind of share groceries and share food and share all this stuff? So we started, one couple would cook and then one couple would cook, and we kind of went back and forth. So you had full nights off where and then one of them would do the dishes, and we kind of didn't schedule it, just kind of happened naturally. But it was great because it's like, oh, someone's going to take the garbage out, and it's like, oh, well, that's already done. Or someone needs, so then you're like, okay, well, then I can clean the bathroom, or I can do, and it kind of organically worked really nice. And it was really nice just to have that community. I mean, I like Laird in my space, and of course I'm, I don't want to live with roommate, in a commune, but I can understand how that communal living really is helpful, because you're only doing a quarter of the job as opposed to having to do a half of the job.
It's like a symphony when it all goes together well. It's like a symphony of being like, oh, great, I'm going to read this book now.
It's just like the right rhythm, right? Like the right rhythm with certain people. There's some people where you're like, you're with them and you're like, why isn't everybody on the same page? And other times, like we go camping with this family every year, and we all, for some reason or other, when we pack up to like go to the next site, we all are finished packing at the exact same time. We just like have this, and like somebody will like be starting cooking or cleaning or whatever, and somebody will be doing something with the kids. And it's easy because nobody has to. It's the same thing. You don't have to ask like, hey, can you do this or can you do this? Everybody it just gets taken care of, and doesn't feel like nobody's going around being like, what can I do? People are just doing their stuff, and everything happens to get done, and at the same time. And it's so relaxing.
Isn't it? It's just,
Lindsay, what's the dynamic in your house?
Our dynamic has shifted a lot over the years. So it started off being a lot of my responsibility to do anything and everything, because I was at the home and my husband was working out of the office and had a long commute, so that it just became mostly my responsibility to do everything. And then that started to shift because I went back to school and sort of tried to change my life a little bit. And then he realized that, well, I can't do everything if I'm also doing this other thing. So then he started to take over, and again, he sort of like stepped up with certain things, but then like Sarah was saying too, like, I don't know if he just didn't see some other things that were messy or needed to be taken care of. Then more recently, we just have all of the tasks that have to happen in the house in our electronic calendar, and things just get ticked off. Like we don't have assigned things that we have to do, but we both know what has to be done because it's in our shared digital calendar, and we can just cross off things as they get done. And then we can see what each other has done as well and be like, oh, okay, he's done that, I'll do this then, or whatever. We support each other much better that way.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Because if you're looking, you're like, oh man, he's done 5 things and I did nothing.
I better start picking it up.
Yeah, totally.
Hey, we should just pick your brain of all your organizational ideas, or just read your blog.
Great idea.
Okay, it's the show about Lindsay. Tell us all the things you do so that we can do this. Yeah.
Well, and my friend, it's funny because I was telling her this, and then I did put a post up. It's somewhere on the blog. I can't even remember what it's called now. She was asking me for my chore list. And I was like, well, the problem is that it's kind of a little bit different for everybody, because everybody has different things that they need to do around the house. Everybody has different weather, even or seasonal changes that they have to accommodate for, and different tasks that they do. And so it's not really everything. Everybody has different expectations about how often to do chores too. So it sort of has to come from your own creation, your own discussion with whoever you're living with to finalize the list. But I used Pinterest and everything to try to narrow down. Like I tried to think of absolutely everything I could think of. Cool. It took a long time to get it set up.
Awesome.
But now it's awesome. And it's too bad because we started it just before COVID hit. So we had like a month or 2 of really trying it with the kids at school. And then they were home all the time. So they are my arch nemesis when it comes to anything cleaning. But it will get better.
Wow.
Cool. I have another question. So I actually realized I got to the point of the focused 4 list. I don't know if you guys got to that point. So in the book, she's asking that you pick 4 things that you want to focus on, and then you write a list. I think she says every night before the next day. So you pick areas. So in hers, I think were health and wellness, creativity, family, and productivity. So she said sometimes they're quick and sometimes they're an hour each, but for in my health and wellness section, I'm going to do yoga today. For my creativity, I'm going to write for half an hour. For my family, I'm going to play a board game with them, or I'm going to drive them to somewhere or whatever. And then for my productivity, I'm going to get rid of 10 emails that I need to get rid of my list.
Oh, I love that list.
Yeah, which sounds really cool. I was wondering if, Lindsay, do you use that, or have you used something like that? Or
I have used things like that in the past. I find that my focused 4 changes too much. And so what I like to do is have like a permanent list that I fill in, as opposed to having like a changing list every day. So I just have beside my nightstand actually a piece of paper that I jot down my brain dump more so. So it's anything that I think is really critical for the next day, or like if I feel like I've been missing the kids, then I'll try to jot down some fun things we could do. Or if I feel like the house is really messy, then I will try to write down like, okay, do a couple of cleaning things. Or if I feel anything that I feel behind or that's stressing me out, I just dump it down on that list so that I can focus on that the next day, as opposed to it being so structured. Yeah.
To have a list of these are the things I want to focus on for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So do you say something like, I'm going to do, I don't know if you have creative things, or maybe the blog, or there's something that your outlet creatively, would you write that the night before as well? Or
anything that's sort of stressing me out or that I feel behind on. So it could be the blog, it could even be my fitness. Like if I've skipped a couple of fitness routines or workouts, then I'll put that on as something to focus on. Anything that sort of would preclude me from falling asleep easily, I guess is more so what it is as well. And that way, when I get up at 5, then I know what kinds of things I could focus on, or I know like, okay, if I'm going to start my day regularly, maybe I'll do a half-hour fitness routine as opposed to a full hour, and then focus on some of those other things that I feel like I need to catch up on as well.
So Kim, would that be helpful to you potentially? I wonder, with
at 3 a.m.
Well, anytime.
If you try to the best of your ability to like dump it all out of you
and then go to bed.
Yeah.
Well, some of the things that I wake up thinking about are not even, I can't.
Real worries.
You don't know where they came from.
They're not. Yeah. Exactly. There's surprises.
Right.
It's not like, ooh, I didn't
Almost
get
like
that done.
dreams. Or like a half dream.
Well, almost like not even a half
brain.
dream, just like it's like my brain is my nemesis, and there's like this moment in time where it's literally happens in less than like a microsecond, and it's like you're awake. What's the worst thing you could think of so that you can't go back to sleep? And then it's like, don't think of an orange penguin or whatever, you know what I mean? And it's just this weird.
It's like a nightmare that you're having because your brain's too tired that you have to like replay almost.
It's almost like well,
it's almost like a night terror, but
I'm awake,
not, right?
It's not a nightmare.
You're awake.
Yeah, good one, Mare.
Yeah, sometimes I have imaginary worst thing could ever happen to me. I've never had it in the middle of the night, but I've had that happen. And I'm like, what's wrong with you, brain? You're thinking of the most awful, grotesque, horrifying ideas you could, like the worst thing that could ever happen. Like, it's like, why do I even think these awful thoughts?
I honestly think that mine is
3 a.m.
related to body changes, like pre-menopause, hormonal, because I know that anxiety can be a symptom that people experience as they move towards menopause. So, and mine happens more so at a certain time during my cycle as well. So I really think it's hormonally influenced.
When you wake up, are you sweaty?
No, it's not like a hot flash or anything like that. It is related to my cycle, and knowing how your sleep patterns affect your cycles as well, not just your menstrual cycle, but like your circadian cycle or whatever. I think that like I really do think my hack is in there, and just in getting my sleep better, eliminating some screen time, because my screen time was absurd. Like it was just like, and I was double downing, like it was just stupid. But back to your question, Kara, I already do that brain dump before I leave work. I do that for work because I'm afraid I'm gonna.
So good.
Yeah, like I'm afraid I'm gonna forget things.
I want to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and work for me, which is arguable. Like we can debate about it, right? I understand there's both sides of it, but like for work, it's non-negotiable, right? Like you're like, oh, I don't want to fuck up, right? Like you're accountable to your boss. You should be able to be accountable to yourself in the same way for your own stuff at home or whatever, but that's our work-life balance that we work on. Right. But yeah, so I like that when Lindsay was saying that, I was like, oh, I do that for work, like totally dump it all out. And then I'm good to go. I don't need to worry about work. I come back to work and then I see my list. I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I check off my list and it's a really good system. I like the 4 from the book, but I might do some kind of a list that is less of a timeline list, just more of a figure out what gets you out of bed list. And then it'll be things that I want to use my 5 o'clock wake up time for, because like some things are finite. Like I'll do it and then it'll be done. Right. And then I will work my way up to fitness because that's one of the things I want to do. But that is so not going to get me out of bed if I start there. I need to already have like a really deeply ingrained get up at 5 habit. Nothing left to do on my list. So then I'll start working out because I'm up anyway or something, you know?
Yeah, really work on setting up that pattern, the reward pattern, feed your mind
with
that
reading
evidence
or whatever
through
it is.
effort. I get a reward through effort. Yeah, that'll be good.
Or sign up for something crazy like a Spartan race.
Yeah, that doesn't work for me. I'll just go to it ill-equipped. Well, maybe it would work for me, but I would.
Yeah, that's what I did. I signed up for one a couple years ago, and I was like, it was a lot of years ago, and I was literally like smoking a cigarette the morning of it. It didn't go well.
Well, that's what I think I would need to do. I'd have to go to it and fail miserably and then sign up for another one as enough motivation to actually try. Like I would definitely go to one first and be like, it's fine.
It was one of the hardest things.
That reminds me, Kim, of when, so we decided, we ran into each other. We hadn't seen each other for years, and we ran into each other at the gym. And we were at the same gym, and I was like, oh my God, you're at this gym too, great, we should go together. And it got to the point where we never went. I would like drive to her house so we could drive together, and then we just hang out, and we're like, let's just order pizza instead and watch this movie or whatever. We just literally hung out, and like the more...
It's like the opposite.
We would be like in the change room and I'd be like, do you want to just leave? Totally. Like we'd be in the change room getting ready to enter the gym. And she'd be like, well, not really. And
that's what the sauna is for.
Right. And I was a yes person. I was like, are you sure we could just quickly do the class? And she's like,
yeah. And I'm really bad.
She's like, let's just go in the hot tub and then go. And I'd be like, really? Like, But and also we finally, and that was like,
we got kicked out though too, right? Yeah,
we finally got the class, and the class we made a mistake and we went to like an advanced step class instead of the beginner or whatever. We got the schedule right,
and
we
not
went
okay
into
with
the class.
beginners.
We finally made it. We were there, and we were doing it. And like I don't know, 10 minutes in, 15 minutes in, the instructor looks over at us and she's like, "This is advanced class. You're not advanced. You need to leave." And we're like, what?
Wow. Usually they're so supportive.
Rude, right? That would not go over well in this day and age.
I think that was in high school. Yeah.
This was like pre-political correctness or something. They were like, fuck you. They got really complicated and it was like 50 steps up and down and spin around. And we were just like
laughing because we're like, what?
We were lost. We couldn't do it. And they were like, you should leave. And we were like, okay, no problem. I was like, I told you we should have left, Sarah.
We literally never made it back. Like, that was the last straw.
What Sarah doesn't know is Kim put them in advance on purpose because she wanted to be kicked out. Can you imagine? I'll get us out of this gym.
I knew the teacher.
Totally. Yeah. So that did not work. So I couldn't even motivate her, and I'm like, this is on our to-do list. I'll drive over to your house and pick you up and drive you there. And she's like,
totally.
We're even there. And she'd be like, let's just go.
Yeah.
And, what? We're here. We made it.
Sarah's like crossroad of to-do and people-pleasing. Like her brain was like exploding. She was like, but we don't get... Maybe I could give it a half check because we were in the change room. Like,
well, now we know which one wins with her. Obviously, the people pleasing wins over the to-do list.
Especially when I was younger, because we were like, I don't know, teenagers, right?
I'm a pretty persuasive asshole too. So,
yeah,
like,
she could convince me of anything always, my whole life.
She is persuasive.
I remember even when we were little, like with Mara and you, I'd be like, Mom said we're not allowed to go to the bridge. And like, they'll never know. And I'm like,
just Kim and I together,
yeah,
ganging up on Sarah, like she had no chance.
That's true,
right? Like, because we'd all have like these great persuasive arguments. We should watch Jaws. I don't think that's too scary. We can't watch Jaws. Yes, we should. We should.
And then I ran home crying. My mom
should have.
Nothing, because I didn't want to get in trouble. I'm like, nothing. I'm just crying.
It's having nightmares every night. And I won't go in the lake.
Never.
And I'll never go swimming again.
Aww. Poor little Sarah.
Oh, that's so funny.
You know what really helps getting up early? Because like during this conversation, I realized that I've done this like getting up early thing before. Is I got a one of those like wake up lights that like the sunrise comes on slowly, And it's a great way to start getting up earlier than you normally get up because it feels like morning. It makes your brain think it's morning.
Yeah, it's that
It works
hormone
really good.
hack again, right?
Yeah, it's a good one.
I have the aromatherapy one from Sage. It's kind of similar. Like, so all of a sudden I put it a half an hour before I want to wake up. And then all of a sudden the room is, you know, I
Smells
put
like
like
smells like
citrusy.
Lovely.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. Okay. And then my alarm goes off and I'm like, oh, great. Okay. Time to get up. Yeah.
Like
That's
Sage a
cool.
person or Sage the herb?
It's a brand.
Sage the
Sage
brand.
Like
Oh, I thought you
doTERRA.
meant the herb. I was like, you really love the smell of sage, I guess. I just be like,
Yes,
turkey
it
dinner.
does it for you. Yeah.
No, there's
Okay.
one called Sunrise or something like that I put up. And it's like citrusy with, you know, stimulating. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. And you have one for night too. So there's a bedtime one. So it goes off first.
It's
so I know it's like
lavender.
bedtime, like at 10. And I'm like, oh, it's bedtime. Time to read my book. Yeah, totally.
So
This is
should we
you're just giving me more information on how to manipulate you. Now I just have to carry these 2 scents with me and I can make you more awake or sleepy at any given time. Oh my goodness.
Totally.
So should we set a challenge before we do the next, like for in between now and the next? So
Sure.
why don't we all, well, not all of us an hour early, but say by the time we get to the final group discussion,
Okay.
we will all get up an hour earlier, except for Meredith, who will stay up an hour earlier. How does everybody feel?
Let me
Let's do
I'll
30
start reading it and
minutes.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's do 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But not
See.
Lindsay, because she already gets up at 5.
And Kara, you gonna get up at 4:30?
I don't know if I want to.
Right. Yeah. No. No way.
A different challenge. Okay. Someone else think of a challenge.
Should we wake up and like just reward ourselves? Like just a novel concept like that?
No, Kara should be like she's not allowed to do anything but something that
No
is a
emails.
creative, healthy endeavor, I guess. And I don't mean like
Yeah.
kill yourself on like a.
Why don't we
workout,
all
like-
try to make the 4% fix applicable, like try to apply it to our own unique lives in whatever
Yeah.
way it is. And then when we come back for our next group discussion, we report on what that looked like. So nobody
Okay.
tells anybody else how it's going to be, but we
Yeah.
come back and report how we made it fit into our life.
Like Lindsay had asked, what is that thing that's going to get you up, get you to do that thing, or not up, but like we all had something different. Like Mara's like doing some sort of fun thing with creative thing with Dan, right? And everyone had something, right? So that's it. Everyone comes back. You've cut out every day something that's applicable to you whenever you can fit it in during that day.
Yeah. And then we'll hear how
All
everybody
right.
made it
Yeah.
work for them.
Yeah.
Because as this times 6, we'll reach like so many more people, right? Because there's a certain segment of the population who's never going to get up at 5,
Yeah.
but they might stay up an hour later or whatever it is, right? Or rearrange their time in whatever way. So we could be inspiring.
Yeah. That's good. Let's do it. I
like
think that's great. Yeah.
And Lindsay, do you have any final words?
Don't really think so. I think this challenge for everybody will be good. I think it'll be interesting to hear how it does apply to everybody because like Kim said, it resonates differently with everybody and you got to make it work for your life and how you can benefit from it.
All right.
Well said.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Book Interrupted. If you'd like to see the video highlights from this episode, please go to our YouTube channel, Book Interrupted. You can also find our videos on www.bookinterrupted.com.
Are you having a hard time waiting for the next episode because you can't get enough of the Book Interrupted crew? We've got you covered. At Unpublished, you can connect with all sorts of behind-the-scenes action. It's like an all-access backstage pass. Go to our website at www.bookinterrupted.com/unpublished for your free trial today.
Moments you can look forward to on next week's Book Interrupted.
It's my coveted time where I can do whatever I want.
But also here's a whole bunch of research and backup of why I think the way that I think. And so when people are like, well, just skip it because you're too busy. And you're like, well, I'm busy when I sleep too.
I can do 10 minutes.
A new book called -4% Fix. I need less.
That my level of self-care is going to slowly start to erode.
Does anybody else have a problem restraining themselves when someone says balls? I was like, Book Interrupted. Never forget, every child matters.